So in my last video, I talked about what makes a brand unforgettable. Okay, and I mentioned some things. One is about you having a clear point of view. When you have a clear point of view and something that you strongly believe in your field. Okay, something that you strongly believe in, even when other people do not believe in it. Something that you strongly stand on. Be believe that you strongly stand on. Okay, when you constantly emphasize on that particular belief, do you understand? Your audience will be able to associate you with that belief. They'll be able to associate you with that concept, that point of view. Okay, and the more you show up with that belief, the more the more they associate you with that belief, and the more they trust you, and the more you become more familiar to them in relation to that belief. Okay, so having a clear point of view, strong point of view, a consistent point of view, POV, is very important. Okay, I also talked about create an emotional connection with your audience, where you can create a connection of inspiration, a connection of relief. Okay, a connection of trust. Do you understand me? And you can do this with the way you talk to them, with your personality, sharing relatable stories with them, using a relatable tone. Okay, you can use this to create an emotional connection with them. I also talked about using a recognizable brand voice. Okay, using a recognizable brand voice. A combination of your personality and your tone is what brings your brand voice. It's not about what you say, but how you say it. Do you understand me? So you need to use a personality and a tone that is relatable to your audience. Do you understand me? And you need to stick once you create a brand voice, a voice for your brand, you need to stick with that voice all through. Do you understand me? Once you consistently show up with that particular brand voice, your audience will now get familiar with you. Do you understand? They will now be able to recognize you. They will not be able to associate you with that brand voice, even if you don't show up with your logo. But if you show up with that particular brand voice, that combination of personality and tone, do you understand me? You have a calm personality and you're using a calm tone. Do you understand? Once you consistently show up that way, they'll be able to relate you with your brand. Do you understand? Even if you're not wearing your logo. Do you understand? I also talked about replicating your brand voice across the different members of your team, so that even if you're not the one showing up, and your team shows up, they will still recognize you. They will still associate your brand with that particular brand voice. Do you understand? So, in this video, I would like to talk about. I would like to add more things, and the main one of all them, the main one among them. Sorry, but the main one among them is creating meaningful experience. Do you understand? You cannot build a memorable brand if you don't create a meaningful experience with your audience. Okay, you cannot create a memorable, no matter how good your product is, no matter how good your marketing is. If customers do not trust you, if customers do not have a good perception about you, do you understand me? Let's say for instance they interacted with you for the very first time. If that interaction was bad for that first time, that customer will never remember you again. Okay, and the customer cannot remember you because of your logo, because of how fancy your logo is, and they cannot remember you because of how fancy your visuals is or how fancy your video is. The only thing that will make them remember you is the way you is the kind of experience you created with them, the time they communicated with you. Do you understand? The way you handled their queries, the way you supported them, the way you explained the problem in their own language. Do you understand me? The way you made them feel understood, the way you spoke at their level. These are experiences that they will never forget. The way you handled their product delivery, the packaging you added, the thank you note you gave them, the way you added an extra for them. Do you understand me? These are experiences, these are unforgettable experiences. These are experiences that they will never ever going to forget. And these things are the things that is going to make them to remember you. It's not your logo. Do you understand? It's not your logo. Your logo is not going to make them to remember you. It's the experience you create with them. Those meaningful experiences, those are the things that is going to make you unforgettable. Even if they forget your logo, they will never forget that experience. Okay? Now, another thing is having a consistent brand identity. Okay? Your logo has to be the same every time. Your colors combination, your color palette, it has to be the same. Okay, it has to be the same on all platforms. You can't use yellow and white in this platform, or maybe the next day you are using black, maybe black and white. There has to be a consistency, because the more you repeat that identity, the more your audience will associate you with that identity, and the more they associate you with that identity, the more familiar you become with them, and the more familiar you become with them, the more they trust you. Okay, so you need to be consistent in your brand identity. Okay, you need to be consistent in your brand identity, because that consistency is what makes you. So even if you don't have a recognizable brand voice, but once you are consistent, once they consistently interact with your identity, with your brand visuals, they will remember you. Along the line, they will remember you. In the long run, they are going to remember you, because they are now familiar with that identity. Okay, so see you in the next video.